Ben, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mark. It's good to be here.
Oh, where are you calling in from today?
We're located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so southeast corner, just north of Chicago, kind of halfway in between Milwaukee and Chicago.
Okay. What brought you up to that area?
This is where I was born and raised. So I grew up in the area, went to school at UW-Madison. Now have a family here of my own.
That's exciting. I find it so seldom people stay kind of where the family was. I know, I think I figured out one time I've lived in about 10 different cities across the country. And so it's been a bit of a nomadic life. I'm always excited
Yeah,
to see someone who's got the roots in the area where they're now bringing up their family. That's a lot of fun.
yeah. I haven't really left the state. I've grown up in Wisconsin my whole life. Do a lot of traveling, but yeah, this is where my family is. A lot of extended relatives in the area, so hasn't really ever been any reason to leave.
Makes sense. So, on the work side, a lot of your time has been spent around senior living these days. Is that correct?
It has, yeah. So we do marketing and lead generation for primarily senior living communities, also healthcare agencies and clinics. But yeah, I've been doing it for about 23 years now.
Wow, it's been a while then. So, what brought you into that line of work?
It was my first career out of college. My dad and I started back then it was really a website design and development agency, primarily building web pages for all kinds of different projects and businesses. And that evolved into a bit of a specialization in the marketing side of things, the Google advertising, search engine optimization to begin with, and then did some good work for a few senior living communities and have grown our kind of our referral network and our base of contacts within that space, and just have found that we're good at growing communities and working with that type of industry. So it's been a good fit for a number of years now.
What's kind of the common challenges that they see where you're able to help them? What are some of the common hurdles you have to overcome?
Yeah, uh, it varies. I think that communities that are good at it, I think it has a lot to do with the service that the communities offer, right? So one of the biggest challenges is kind of keeping staff these days. How do we make sure that as we grow, we can continue to care for the seniors that we take in, and those communities that treat their staff well and pay them well and take care of them, I think have a better product to offer. So uh, that makes it easier for us when we're doing marketing. If we're marketing a good product with good testimonials, good Google reviews, our job is easier. Where it gets challenging is where maybe some of the communities are falling short with their service delivery. They're battling the negative reviews on Google. Glassdoor has previous employees who are complaining about the work ethic and circumstances involved with employment and things like that. So it's really about our job is always to keep the community full and to grow the waiting list to make sure that there's always people who are next in line to move in. And that's easiest done for clients that just have a good product. So roundabout answer to the question, but um, the challenge is kind of a two-sided coin, I guess.
Makes a lot of sense. That's
Yeah.
got to be hard when, to your point, they're struggling internally, and now they still want the best people. Obviously, how do you make sure that they address those underlying issues and you
Right.
still help them succeed? No, that's good.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you've also expanded a little bit into something like healthcare. Is that correct?
We work with, yeah, another specialization we have is kind of uh, the care providers that care for seniors outside of the community. So it could be diabetic care, foot care, um, mental health care, things like that. So a lot of the products and services that kind of coincide with keeping seniors healthy and living a fulfilling life as they either age in place or move into a community.
Well, that makes sense. Well,
Yeah.
switching gears a little bit, I lived in Chicago a little while, and I know the winters in your area aren't particularly fun all the time. Do you, is there a certain time of the year you like the best? You said family, so do you have some kids that like to get out and go skiing or something, or how do you guys take advantage of the area?
Yeah. The Midwest in general, there's definitely seasons. It swings in both directions, hot and cold. So we're in the middle of summer right now, and I think it's about 90 degrees outside. Um, Winter time, it could be below zero for a good stretch of days. So I think that it's fun to just enjoy the different seasons and take each for the benefits it provides, and there's pros and cons. But um, I think that I would also dislike just having the season kind of be the same year round. That would be a little bit boring for me. So we enjoy swimming and boating in the summer months. We're not big skiers, but we do enjoy time outside um, in the snow and building snowmen with the young kids and sledding and things like that. So there's a variety of things to do here in Wisconsin, snowmobiling. Um, in the wintertime, of course, lots of bike trails for the summertime, lots of lakes. So there's always something to do.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I know
Yeah.
we got 6 inches of snow down here in Pensacola this last winter. It closed us for a week, which was kind of surprising. The schools shut down and people didn't know
Uh-huh.
what to do. So I
Yeah.
miss the days, to your point. I love four seasons and people knowing how to manage all four. So that's always
Right.
nice.
Right. Yeah, that seems unusual to have snow in Pensacola.
It was first time in 100 years, and the time it happened previously was a rumor. It wasn't even on record. They didn't record it. So it's
Okay.
definitely unusual.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you and your father had started your efforts and what you do today. Is that correct?
Hmm.
So is
Yeah.
he a big influence for you early in your career? And have you had other folks that have come into your sphere to mentor you or impact how you do what you're doing, or what continues this growth?
Yeah. My dad and I, coincidentally, he was exiting the corporate world at the same time I was graduating college, and we were both looking for jobs. Um, so we started an agency together locally here in the community, and then grew it to have many clients all over the country. But yeah, my dad has always been a mentor to me. He is no longer involved in the business. He's retired many years ago. Uh, but yeah, he was an executive before he left the corporate world and just, good business perspective. But part of the agency network I'm involved with also has a lot of good, um, not that I'm a young guy anymore, but a lot of mentors and elders, so to speak, that I've learned from over the years. So it's just a good space to be in. My colleagues kind of help me with support and planning and just good motivation these days, whereas my dad had done that in the past. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. How did that work? Sometimes, like I know a number of like husband-wife teams or father-son teams will do work together, and I hear it can either be a test on the relationship or actually really improve the time together and the bonding. What was your experience? How did that work for you and your dad?
Yeah, I think that it was a bit of both, as it you'd kind of expect with any family relationship that turned into a business relationship, whether it's husband, wife, siblings, father, son, things like that. What was important to us was just kind of maintaining kind of I guess you could call it an invisible wall between business and family. So family time was family time, business time, 9 to 5 was business time. Um, and that was kind of the best way to navigate it. But uh, others in this space I know have had challenges with it as well. Just kind of keeping that separation and not getting frustrated with spending all of your time with one person, both before work and after work. So I know that I've heard, counselors that specialize, coaches that specialize in family businesses to help maintain the peace, provide succession planning, and just all kinds of sorts like that. So yeah, I know that that's a common problem that definitely had to be navigated early on.
Well, as your children get to a working age, do you envision them potentially going into business with you as well, or do you see this as you're the last generation for this in the family?
It's always a possibility. They're a little young. They're in grade school yet, so they don't quite know what they're doing tomorrow, let alone. a decade from now or more. But yeah, if they're interested at the time when they're becoming an adult and it's a career path that they'd like to pursue, it's in the cards. For me, it's still early enough where I'm just trying to do as best I can right now to keep the business going, and we'll see what happens 10 years from now.
I agree. My daughter's 12, and in a similar conversation, one day she wants to be a lawyer, one day she wants to be a fire person, one day she wants to, you know, uh, just travel the world in a boat, right? You just never know what they're going to be looking for later.
Right.
So,
My
but
daughter.
I always try to plan for the event, the possibilities, and
Yep.
support them. I think
Yep.
along those lines, one of the things that's top of mind for me these days is there's more rumblings in the marketplace around higher education, and with the impact of AI and the shift of some of the things that are going on, the costs related to the jobs you can get and the money. What are your thoughts there? Are you of the mind you'll be encouraging your children to gear towards college, or do you think there's so much we don't know yet that it might develop differently?
Yeah, that's interesting kind of conversation to have these days because I don't think we really know what things are going to look like 5, 10 years from now with AI and what career paths make the most sense. Um, I've always been pro college or something after high school, additional education beyond high school. My parents were, my whole family is college educated. My wife's an attorney, so we're all about continuing education. But what that looks like for my kids, I think, is yet to be seen. And the tide may shift back towards um, working with your hands as the trades. So maybe it's not going to school for more knowledge in your brain. Maybe it's going to school for how to use your hands and producing things and fixing things, which I think is probably skill sets that the society is losing. So I think that I'll encourage my kids to do whatever they want to do, as long as it makes sense and they can make a living out of it. But I think that some of the careers that rely on just being a smart person, so to speak, these days will at least be influenced by AI. I don't think AI will ever replace anything that we do as humans. Humans always have to be in the loop. But yeah, careers that are more hands-on, might be better producing in terms of income down the road.
Yeah, more stability, consistent demand.
Yep.
Absolutely. I think that's often how do you consider yourself pretty handy around the house? Do you take care of some of the electrical work or anything like that?
I do. I'm no professional handyman, but yeah, I'm sitting in a room. I know how to paint. I know how to put up drywall. I've done some electrical work in the past, so there's some DNA in me that is a handyman as well as the professional that sits at a desk at a computer too. So I'm grateful to have those skills.
Yeah, I'm always very happy to see people who are able to do those pieces. I know we recently bought a house and I just tried to paint one large room and it took me a week and I
Hmm.
realized I was not the right person to be
Yeah.
doing that.
No, I
So
definitely don't enjoy painting. Everybody thinks that it's the easy thing to do, but holy cow, it's many more hours than you anticipate, and um, you look at it, and the finished product is something that is probably not as good as a professional could do. So you kind of regret it after the fact, but it's a good way to save money
yeah,
doing things
no,
yourself.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. What are some of your favorite pastimes there? Like, how do you take your personal time when you're not doing the work?
Hmm. The kids keep me busy. We like to vacation. So even though we live in the Wisconsin state of Wisconsin, where the weather can sometimes be undesirable, we really love going down to Florida, enjoying the sun and spending a week or two there any given time. We like to do. We enjoy the outdoors, so we do boating here on some of the local lakes. We've got a dog that we like to play outside with, spending time outdoors with friends and family. Um, our We've got my sister-in-law lives right next door, so we kind of share a large property kind of away from the city and have several acres here that we kind of spend outside time with. So yeah, it's just try to de-stress with getting some fresh air however we can.
It's amazing how, especially I know. My daughter was brought up in LA, and once in a while I manage to get her away from the city, out to like we took her to the Grand Tetons in Wyoming, and it's amazing to watch children just engage with nature, and they just seem to have an energy and a spark to just a natural response. And I feel
Hmm.
like we often, I'm sure you're like you mentioned, you're kind of in an environment where they're probably exposed regularly. I know a lot of city kids, so to speak, don't always have that advantage, and
Right.
to get them to put their phones away and just enjoy the outdoors.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. It's always a challenge. Phones and iPads. If we're under 2 hours a day for iPad time, it's a good day for our kids. So trying to find something else for them to do is always a challenge.
yeah, agreed. I'm guessing you're probably coming up on the start of the next school year.
Yeah, our school year starts in September, I believe, just after Labor Day. Yep.
Now, your kids excited, or are they the kind that are like, I don't want to go back to school?
They always, I think that they are indifferent when it comes to school. They they're going to summer school right now, so they've actually, I think tomorrow is their last day of summer school, and then they have a couple of weeks off before they start again. But they, they enjoy school. They like to visit with their friends. Um, but I think by the end of each day, they're tired and bored of it. So they both love learning in different ways. Um, whatever kind of learning we can do at home with help. We were just talking about handyman stuff. If we can teach them how to fix things and work on cars, and if their toy breaks, then how do we diagnose that from an engineering mind standpoint, things like that. So they love learning. Sometimes they would rather not be at school and be in their bed instead. But yeah, overall they're good.
Well, that hands-on experience, especially things like working on your car yourself, is, I think, a really engaging three-dimensional interaction that can, again, spark their curiosity and their excitement, which is great.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
And so I know one other thing, you've recently started to do podcasts as well. Uh,
Hmm.
is there any key insights you've taken away from the interviews you've done that really sparked your interest and curiosity, or major thoughts you would want to share?
Yeah. My podcast episodes tend to focus on the senior living space and everything that's involved there. And there's lots of changes happening as uh, the resident demographics are changing from the silent generation to more of the baby boomers moving in, and the expectations and what senior living communities have to do and provide to be competitive and kind of break away from that stigma of what senior living communities used to look like, that everybody kind of wanted to avoid. Um, these days, they're much more inviting. They're much more of like a luxury kind of resort type of feel, that can provide a great benefit to the residents and the family that kind of can have peace of mind, um, knowing that mom and dad or one or the other are well taken care of into the future. So, yeah, I mean, there's lots of things that come into that, from AI and technology expectations to, um, you know, the amenities that are at senior living communities. So I think that's the biggest shift, is just the changing demographic of the people that are coming into that space.
I think you bring up a good point. There's been a real effort to break the stigma of them putting mom in a home, right?
Yep.
To, hey, let's go see mom. She's having a great time, and we're
Uh,
so happy that she's doing well. Do you
right.
see that there's a lot of success in, because even as they change what they offer, sometimes the perception hasn't shifted. Is there any advice that you give to your clients when they're thinking about trying to make sure they are seen in the right light?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the communities that I work with, when I see the photos and the videos, it almost looks like something I'd want to live there. It's a great place. It looks like a hotel. So I think that kind of the creative production that's utilized by marketing, professionals is important. And the senior living communities, of course, caught on to that, and their photography always great, professional videos and things like that. But also just encouraging family to visit, in the sense that many of the communities actually have like additional rooms and spaces where family can sleep. If particularly if they're out of town guests, you can go and stay at the community with grandma and grandpa or mom and dad and enjoy the space with them. pools, good food. Many of them have pubs and happy hours, and it's like a vacation every day. So continuing to market it as a happy place to be and a good experience in retirement is important, and will continue, I think, to attract the right demographic.
No, you're right, Ben. It was kind of fun last year. Down here in Gulf Breeze, Florida, we have an annual event called the Taste of Gulf Breeze, and they invite local restaurants and vendors. And we didn't realize that one of them was a retirement community, and we ended
Uh-huh.
up picking their dessert as the best dessert in the show. And so,
Yep.
to your
Yep.
point, got a great chef. They're presenting great food, and we didn't even know exactly. We went back. We're like, wait, where are you guys located? Like, oh, we're up. Like, oh, the retirement community, and
Yeah.
the
Many of
chef was very
them,
excited to be recognized.
it's pretty cool. Some of them do like DoorDash. You can order meals from the retirement community, so that's a great way to kind of expose what you offer to the extended community.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you think about the next, let's call it year or two, about your business and family, are there any major areas that you're focusing on to make sure both AI, shifting politics, these things keep your organization stable and then how you service your clients?
Hmm. Yeah, so a lot of what we do and have done in the past is not necessarily becoming automated, but it's becoming easier to implement and more efficient for agencies and even do-it-yourselfers or internal teams at our clients to kind of do, in particular Google Ads and some of the SEO tools and things like that. So our shift is more towards these days the business consulting side of things and focusing more on what can we do from a conversion optimization standpoint as we're sending traffic to a website or generating leads, and kind of let's actually dig a little bit deeper. We're generating leads, we're generating traffic to your community or your business. How can we improve your sales team? Can we help you with sales coaching? Are there AI tools we can implement for customer service? Are there chat bots or call centers we can install to help offload some of that lead qualification from your team so that your salespeople are working on the best leads and things like that? So uh, a lot of the automation is making our lives easier, but at the same time, it's opening up an opportunity for us as consultants to do more just general business consulting. And how do we how do we leverage these AI tools and not just put AI tools in place for the sake of checking that box of saying, okay, we've got the AI now, we can rest. No, we have to figure out how to use it effectively. So that's where we're headed for the next year or two.
It's great. No, I think that's very true. We're seeing a lot of, this is where I know a number of my team members are very concerned about the impact of AI for job loss. But I think what we're absolutely seeing in practice is AI opening up our ability to, again, just we want to do the strategic work, right? And have
Hmm.
a more direct impact. And a lot of the mundane things get pushed to the AI that it can streamline and process for us.
Right,
So I think we're
right.
saying the same thing. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's
makes
kind of
sense.
what we're doing for ourselves is what we're also trying to do for our clients too. So when we're
Yeah.
streamlining things in our internal processes as an agency, how can we also leverage that same system to streamline things for our clients, our communities? And when we're thinking about retirement community, for instance, that's got caregivers who are probably overworked and overstressed, and the community is understaffed, how can we offload some of that strain from them and do some of the mundane stuff through AI and open up their time to actually provide care for the residents and make those personal connections and do their job. So I see nothing but good things coming from AI. I don't see it as like a job replacement tool. I see it as a just a way to supplement what we're doing right now and make things a little bit better and easier.
Well, I think we also find for us that it leverages us up, right? One person can now do three or four people's jobs to some extent,
Hmm.
as opposed to just the one. So it's
Right.
been a
Right.
powerful supplement.
Yep.
Any other thoughts you wanted to share with the audience, Ben?
Uh, no. Yeah, I mean it's challenging times these days. Political climate is a little bit weird. We're not quite sure what the job market's going to look like. Um, Finances are strained, interest rates are up. So Yeah, a lot of challenging things going on in the current times, but I think that what I'm doing in my personal life and with my clients is just kind of just taking a step back and looking far enough into the future and understanding that in balance, everything kind of finds a way to fix itself. The world is a little bit self-regulating and self-correcting, so don't panic too much about what's going on right now. Keep your eye on the finish line and um, leverage AI and these incoming tools to your advantage ahead of everyone else. And I think that you'll be a step ahead from those who kind of are ignoring them and hoping that they don't have to learn the ropes with these new technologies and tools. And just keep up with the times. So yeah,
I
that's
couldn't
kind of
agree
where we're
more, Ben. It's be the one who works with AI. Don't be afraid of AI taking over.
right.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, Ben, thank you for the time today. It was a great conversation. I appreciate you giving us some insights into, your work-life balance and all the things that drive you every day. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mark.